Even as a tiny channel like mine, I get quite regular emails off different tool companies offering to send me either tools or accessories. 99% of the time I turn these down because I'm either not interested in the tool or I don't think it's something that's going to be very interesting for the viewers to watch. So recently I got an email off of a company called Hychika, and they offered to send me one of their multi-purpose screwdrivers that's been selling really well. I politely declined this. I said this wasn't going to be something I was interested in and therefore I wasn't going to show it to my viewers. What I did say to them though was that I noticed that they sold a mini chainsaw, and this is actually something that I'm going to be in the market for, so if they wanted to send me one out I'd be happy to review it. And a few days later this arrived. Now I haven't been paid anything for this video, and Hychika haven't even specified anything about this video. They just sent me the tool and said for me to try it out. And a mini chainsaw is genuinely something that I've been looking to purchase. I've wanted one of them for a while to cut down small logs that aren't big enough to warrant getting the big chainsaw out, or just to cut down any wood that I need to on the go, just quickly and roughly. So this is the Hychika Cordless Garden Pruma CS18D is what they call it. And in the box you get the chainsaw and battery, the manual, a spare chain, a charger, and an adjustment tool for tensioning the chain. It was all packaged a lot better than that, but I've ripped all the boxes out and just put it back in this box. So let's put this to the test. I've fully charged this 4 amp hour battery. I'm not going to run through the specs too much. It's basically an 8-inch or 20 centimeter mini chainsaw. It's battery powered, and yeah, it's not designed for cutting trees down, it's for branches and small bits, so let's put it to the test and see what it can do. First up, it does need some chain oil. I was actually impressed that it even had the option of chain oil because I expected it to be oilless, but obviously if it's got chain oil that's better for it. So we'll fill this with chain oil. I've got some next door in the shed, and then we'll put this to the test. Oh, that was a good start, wasn't it? Right, so that's the chain and bar oil in, without making too much of a mess. And yeah, it's as simple as just pressing the trigger. It's already tensioned, so I don't need to tension it. So yeah, we'll start off with the easy test and then we'll work up and make each test a little bit harder. So we're going to start out with some of the most basic wood you can get, and that is some just soft wood, pallet wood. So I'll get some eye protection on and see how it copes through this. Easy. Absolutely flew through that. I mean, I'd have been very disappointed if it didn't, but yeah, flies through that. So there's phase 1 of the test complete. Next up, I'm going to test out this thicker stretcher piece of the pallet. Yeah, as expected, it flew through that. It actually leaves a fairly smooth cut. It's obviously a brand new sharp chain, but it's only a tiny chain, so it is quite impressive that it can fly through those as quickly. Right, so next up, I'm going to test it out on some logs. So I've got some cherry, I think it is, and some cedar logs, I think they are. So one's a hardwood, one's a softwood. We'll test the softwood first, and then we'll test the hardwood and see how it gets on with them. So I've got a couple of logs here. This is the softwood, so we'll cut through that. We'll see how it gets on. Yeah, that works pretty well actually. It's obviously, this isn't designed for chopping down trees or logs, but in a pinch if you need it, or if it's just to chop something that size and you don't want to obviously get a big chainsaw out or use a different saw, that actually works pretty well. So I've now got a big lump of this cherry, I believe it is, so we'll chop through this and see how it copes with that. It's not designed for this, so it should struggle with this, but I'm quite hopeful that this might actually go through this. I expected that to really struggle with that, but again it didn't particularly struggle through it. So there's the initial tests, and I would say it's passed all of those with flying colours, to be fair. It's chopped through all of those without really struggling too much. It sounded like it bogged down a little bit on there, but the 4 amp hour 18 volt battery seemed to be absolutely fine, and it's still showing as a full battery. So what I'm going to do is use this for a few more cuts, and basically I'll see how long this battery lasts and how many cuts I can get out of it. And if I have any issues or anything, I will let you know, but so far this is actually quite impressive. So it flew through all of those logs pretty easily, and this is definitely now going to be my go-to saw for anything that's too big to fit into the wood stove. How I usually cut stuff like that down is just to use this bandsaw, but that can be a little bit sketchy when it's not got a flat base. It can obviously move around and jam, and it could potentially snap the blade. I also don't particularly want to be blunting down this blade just for using rough cuts like that. So this is now definitely going to be the go-to saw for cutting bits like that. So now we've given it a basic test, let's really push it and see if it can cut a proper log. I've got a load of bigger logs to chop for next year's firewood, which I'm using my main chainsaw for. But let's see if this mini chainsaw can cut a log with a larger diameter than its 8-inch bar. Right, so I am well impressed with this thing. The battery did finally die when I was finishing off a few of those cuts for next year's firewood, but it must have lasted a good hour of using it. So well impressed with the battery life, and I actually can't believe how well it cut through that big log. Like I say, this has got an 8-inch bar, so that log must have had a diameter of at least 10 inches, and it still managed to get through it. Obviously it didn't fly through it like a petrol chainsaw or a bigger electric chainsaw, but to be honest, that's not what this saw is designed for. It's more meant for pruning branches and cutting up smaller stuff, and it's done all that with ease. All the time I was using this on that bigger log, I was expecting it to die any minute, and I kept going for the video, but all the time at the same time I was thinking, please don't die, because you're actually going to be a very useful little tool. I actually found myself grabbing this quite a lot. There was a couple of times where there was a branch that was curled round and it was some cuts high up, and they're the sort of cuts that with a big chainsaw you don't really want to be working it up here near your face. Like, it's just not the one. So being able to just cut with this at those higher heights just felt a lot safer, and obviously that's a little bit less sort of leery cutting above your head than using a big chainsaw. So I guess the next question is this saw worth it? And I would definitely say yes. This is a tool that I've wanted for a while, but I've never got around to ordering one. I currently don't have any particular allegiance to any tool brands, so it wasn't like I needed to fit a battery system. And this saw is exactly what I wanted from a tool like this. It's cordless for a start, it's decently powerful for its size, it's got a good battery life, it's pretty quiet, and it's pretty solidly built. So I have to say that this saw definitely ticks all of those boxes. This saw currently retails for £73 on the Hychika website, and that includes the battery, and for that price I would say that it's definitely well worth it. I can say for certain that I am definitely going to be using this plenty in future, especially for cutting firewood. So if you do want to check out this or any of the other Hychika tools, I'll leave a link down below to their website. I'll also ask the guy I've been talking to if they'll provide a discount code to save you a few pennies, so if they do, that'll also be in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, it really does help it grow. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.